Welcome, everyone, to this regular meeting of the South Kingstown Town Council. It is Monday, February 8th, 2016, and it is 7:30. Time to begin. Our first order of business is the pledge to the flag. Please rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Council President Collins.
Here.
Council Vice President Haley.
Here.
Councilwoman Clow.
Here.
Councilwoman Gledhill.
Here.
Councilman Veely.
Here.
All members present.
Excellent. Item 4 on our agenda is the approval of minutes of previous meetings. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve item number 4, the approval of minutes from the previous meetings, the work sessions dated January 6th, 13th, and January 25th of 2016, and the regular session of January 25th of 2016.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. Item 5 is our consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in the package tonight.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously as well. And brings us to item 6 on the agenda, licenses. 6A is a resolution granting a Class F19 hour beverage license to URI Friends of Women's Athletics for an evening of grapes and grain. And the event is to be held Saturday, June 11th, 2016, from 5 to 8 p.m. under a tent on the lawn at the URI President's House. Is Shayna Green here?
Hi, I'm Shauna Green. I'm Director of University Events, and this will be our 7th annual Grapes and Grain event where we raise money for URI women's athletes.
Great. And is this something where anybody can buy a ticket?
Yes, yep, it is open, and we have a lot of local vendors. So far, we've secured Matunic Oyster Bar, Weed Weavers, Wakefield Liquors, the Coast Guard House, and many other local vendors.
And where would people go to purchase tickets if they were looking for them?
They can actually buy them online on the URI website.
Any questions? Great. Then I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve license item 6A.
Second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck.
Congratulations. Thank you. Item 6B is a resolution granting a miscellaneous permit to conduct the Beat the Chill Climb the Hill 5K road race on Saturday, March 12th, 2016 at 11 a.m. It goes to Monsignor Clark School. And it's subject to the execution of a hold harmless agreement indemnifying the town, issuance of a certificate of insurance, naming the town as an additional insured for the event, in the amounts to be specified by the risk manager, and conditions of approval set by the Transportation and Traffic Review Committee. Dr. John Finnegan, is he here? Or somebody to talk about this. Come on forward.
Dr. Finnegan's the principal. He's not here tonight, but I'm Lisa Garzilli. This is Thomas Hannon. We're parents of children at Monsignor Clark School, and we're here on the behalf of the committee, if that's okay.
Yes, welcome.
So this is the 5th year that we're going to put this on. It's Beat the Chill, Climb the Hill. It's a 5K race for Monsignor Clark School. The proceeds this year are going to buy Chromebooks for the children. One year we did it for the playground to try to update their playground or the science lab, different things. We've submitted a route for you. It does go through part of South Kingstown and mostly into Narragansett. Do you have a copy of it? I don't know if you need it.
I've seen it in the
Oh,
past.
nice to see you. $20 entry fee for adults, $15 for children. We have a safety plan that's been put into place. We have a lot of parent volunteers that will help. Registration's online.
Any questions?
We've we've heard about this in the past, and one of the only questions that came up was for the review from the Transportation and Traffic Review Committee, and they actually had gone and looked at the route, looked at the race, and they were in support of the route that had been presented at that time. So it's turned out seemingly to be a wonderful event for the school.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've been pretty involved with this for the past few years, I know. Good for you. I've heard it's been very successful.
It has been. I think the first year we raised $9,000 for the school.
Wow.
So the support of the communities, both Narragansett and South Kingstown, have been amazing. The businesses, the families that have helped, that's really been great for us. And, you know, we obviously appreciate everyone's generosity. So thank you.
Hopefully the weather will cooperate.
I know. I hope so, too. Thank you.
How many runners do you typically get for the race?
Usually we get between 100 and 200. It's kind of depending. Sometimes more register, but then they don't run that day just to support us. You know, they'll register for support. But it wouldn't be more than 200. You know, if it was more than that, we'd be thrilled, but it would be surprised.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 6B.
Second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries
Thank you.
unanimously.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
good
you
luck.
very much.
Good luck.
That brings us to item 7 on the agenda, communications. And 7A is a resolution adopted January 19th, 2016 by the Narragansett Town Council, which was continued to this meeting. Resolutions adopted by the town councils of Exeter, Middletown, Richmond, and Hopkinton, I guess, requesting support in opposition to Governor Raimondo's proposed truck toll gantries to be placed throughout the state of Rhode Island. And it's been received. What do we want to do with it?
I would make a motion to support these resolutions that are in opposition to the tolling proposal.
I'll second.
I think there's no question that the roads and bridges need repair. I'm just not convinced that tolling is the most positive way to effectively do that.
As I said in the work session, I'm concerned that these trucks will be utilizing more and more of our secondary roads. They'll be coming down Route 1. I think it will take its toll on our communities and pull these trucks off the main highways. So I'm certainly concerned.
Although I do agree with Rachel on that point, I look at this as something that has to go through, whether it be through the tolls or, unfortunately, with the second proposal that's come up at the State House, it's going to be through increases in gas taxes. They have stated that there will be a stipulation that cars won't be involved. Down the road, who knows, things can change. I know something absolutely has to be done, but I don't know if the gas tax increases are a fair way to do it either. So that's just my own 2 cents.
I think, again, to echo what Rachel and Joe said, I don't think that our infrastructure on our secondary roads would support trucks trying to avoid the tolls, but also I think with the news recently with Job Lot, pulling out of what they were going to do down in Quonset, I just think it's really telling of what kind of message we're sending to the big businesses that we want to come here. I also am conflicted, like Meg said, the money has to come from somewhere, but I think that we can find a better way to manage our money to find the savings that we need to fix the roads as opposed to taxing or tolling the truck drivers.
Tolling the truck drivers will, right, we discussed it in the work session, and I think we all kind of agreed that it would end up coming down to it falling on the consumer. So
There's no questions about that. I work for a business that has 18-wheelers come in sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm sure that cost will be sent down to the company that I work for as well. And unfortunately, I hate to say this way, but it's the cost of doing business. It's going to happen. It's going to come from somewhere. So whether we're, working with the tolls, or we're working with the gas tax, or we're working with another proposal, it's inevitable that the infrastructure has got to be worked upon. It's not only a dollars and cents issue, it's also a safety issue.
Well, I think if you're looking at funding sources for DOT, in terms of equity, the tolls would be certainly a better way to go. You're going to actually capture some money from out-of-state people who are just coming through, damaging our roads, and not paying any of the price at this point. Whereas if you do the gas tax, those truckers are just going to pass right through without buying fuel here, paying any of those increased costs that help fund our infrastructure. And more to the point, I think raising gas prices on everybody puts the burden mostly on the people who aren't causing the damage to the roads, which is necessitating this funding. So tolls, nobody likes them, but it is hard to find a solution that works in this circumstance. So I won't vote in support of these resolutions, but that's...
Abel, there is the novel idea of funding it with the money they already have and being a little more efficient with it.
Yes, and I hear that. If I wasn't so familiar with DOT and knowing how, I mean, essentially they're dealing with 20 years of really poor choices, funding everything through bonding. So now that they're paying essentially 50% of all the money they're getting from the gas tax presently is going to debt service. You can't have a system like that. It's not sustainable. Yeah, it's a mess, and I don't have all the answers to it. That's for certain. So, are we ready to vote on this? All right. All in favor of passing 7A, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
And by a vote of 3-2, that carries. Item 8 on our agenda is comments from interested citizens, which I believe we have a special presentation tonight, perhaps our only speaker. Ken, why don't you come up to the podium, introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. I was wondering if I might put up just a couple of signs that we could get on film.
Sure. I don't know if we have our usual tripod around.
I think I could just put it in the front, and it's more so that we could stream it out for information purposes
Sure.
for those that might be watching.
Go for it.
Thank you.
You might want to put it up
Oh,
against
just where we
this
are,
so
right-
the camera can
right
get
up
it.
here.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, good.
Perfect. Wow. You thinking ahead.
Yes.
My name's Ken Kennerson. I'm a program manager for what we call the Home Wrap program. That is part of the South Kingstown Elks Lodge programs to the community. The last time that we were here before the council was November 10th, 2014. And I believe that was actually the last meeting of the former council. And if I'm correct on that, I think there are new council members, and I wanted to spend just a moment and share with you the genesis of the Home Wrap program. Home Wrap is an acronym for the Free Home Maintenance and Repair Program that was designed by members of the South Kingstown Elks Lodge, and it took us a couple of years in order to do that. What we attempted to do 3 or 4 years ago was to identify additional revenue streams that might be captured outside of our community to bring into our community for community support. We had relied traditionally on raising charity amounts within our lodge members and within our community members, and we thought it would be worthwhile investigating whether or not there may be some revenues outside of our community that we could bring in. And in doing that, we researched and found that the Elks National Foundation, which has as its mission to help Elks build stronger communities, that 10 years ago they created a program called the Community Investment Program. And we researched that, and we said, we need to go for this. It's something that we think that would benefit our community. And in this program, there are 4 different grants that they provide. And each of them has a fairly unique significance to the community. So one is a Beacon grant, and you'll see this in the handout that you received, and I'll be repeating a little bit of this, but we applied for that, $2,000 grant 3 years ago. We wanted to use that grant, and we applied to support and recognize our senior citizens in our community. And we won that grant in the full $2,000. I know many of the council members have attended our senior dinner dance. We have a wonderful relationship that we've developed with the center because of this program. And we've received grant funding for the last 3 years. And just for your own information, we're going to be having that for the 4th year. All of you, as you always are invited to that. It will be April 28th, and we'd love to have you. Another grant is a gratitude grant, and that also is a $2,000 grant. We applied for that as well 3 years ago, and the application was to send young kids, disadvantaged kids, to day camp at Alton Jones. We won approval of that grant. We've had that program in place for 3 years, and we send anywhere from 13 to 15 kids from our community to Alton Jones for 1 week for a day camp. Last year, we applied for the Promise Grant. That's also directed towards kids, and we sent 80 kids and their parents to a Paw Sox game up in Pawtucket. The last of those grants, the 4th, is the largest that the Elks National Foundation provides. It's called an impact grant. And by most measures, people wouldn't think it's huge, and it's not. It's $10,000, but it's huge by Elks definition. So we said, we're going to give it a shot. We're going to go for an impact grant. So we started 3 years ago researching what we might be able to apply for, and we looked at the level to which we have homeless in our community, clearly an issue. The level to which we have hunger in our community, without a doubt. The number of seniors and those that are disabled that don't have the income to maintain their homes, fairly significant. So that we vetted that for about 1.5 years. And we decided after researching those various programs as well as others that we were going to apply for an impact grant to try and assist those in our community, seniors specifically, and the disabled, that don't have the resources sufficient to provide maintenance to their homes, and thereby, if they don't, could be dislodged from their homes. It took us a year to prepare the application. We did that. We applied in 2014. We were one of 20 lodges nationally that received a $10,000 impact grant. Just so you know, there are over 2,000 lodges nationally. That's why we came before the council on November 10th. We wanted to share with the council our good news of receiving that grant. So tonight, I'm here really to share with you our first year experience with the grant. As you would expect, whenever you initiate a new program and you construct a new program, there are the ups and downs, and it's a learning process, and it certainly has been a learning process for us. We think, though, that it's been a successful one, a positive one, and we're very encouraged in the direction we're going in and what is ahead of us in the future, and I'll be addressing a little bit of that as we go along. Just one note before getting into the home wrap program is that in that 3-year period that I just mentioned that we applied for those grants, we've brought in $34,500 to the community. That's not coming from anyone here, not any of our members at the lodge. This is all external funding, and we expect that that's going to hopefully increase in the future. Once again, for those that weren't here in the November presentation, our grant was predicated on helping the seniors, as I mentioned, the disabled. It provides resources for free home maintenance and repair assistance. And our intention and our application focused on fairly minor repairs, painting jobs, minor repair jobs, yard work, painting, that sort of thing. Our intention was, and we stated in our application, that we were going to start off easy, we were going to get our feet wet last March, and we were going to do yard cleanups. That was our intention. We thought that was the best way to go. We knew that there was a demand for that, so that was how we thought we'd proceed. Our first project was a wheelchair ramp. A wonderful signature project, but not one that we expected to do. And it took a significant amount of resources, both financially as well as human, but it was a wonderful, wonderful project. So we're really proud of that. As well as a number of the other projects that we were able to complete. Just to give you some sense of what some of the things some of the data related to what we accomplished in the first year, we had 15 applications. Those applications came from South Kingstown and Narragansett, both communities. Out of the 15, we actually did 12. The 3 that we didn't do, 2 were beyond scope. The structural deficiencies were such that we didn't have the skill level within our volunteer corps to be able to provide those services. And the 3rd one was withdrawn. The 12 projects that we completed, the first was the wheelchair ramp that I mentioned, which is 2 blocks from here. That took several weeks for us to accomplish. In addition to that, we put in a bulkhead. We repaired a garage door. We put in vents, attic vents. We put in basement windows. We trimmed trees. We cleaned gutters. We power washed decks. We did a lot of good stuff. We replaced Venetian blinds for an individual that had a serious stroke and had no privacy in his home, and we were able to do that. We had 55 members from our lodge volunteer. We have 650 members in our lodge, so it's almost 10%, not bad. And we had 3 contractors volunteer their services. We paid for the materials. They provided their services. An illustration or an example of that is the bulkhead, which is, I mean, that's a pretty big project. We actually had a contractor that did that on his own, and we just purchased the bulkhead. In addition to that, we enlisted the Boy Scout Troop 1, which we sponsor, and they assisted us on one of the projects. We estimate that we expended roughly 800 hours of volunteer time. That time is allocated on administrative responsibilities as well as site review, project work, and those sorts of things. So as you can see, I mean, it's a lot involved. It is a lot involved. As I mentioned, learning process. We learned that, unfortunately, at times, we need to say no. That's never an easy thing when you're dealing with some of these issues. And unfortunately, because of limitation of resources as well as the number of volunteers, we can't do everything that we want to do. So that's one of the learning points. We also learned of what the demand is out there. And so we hope to, in the second year, try and expand the number of families that we're going to serve. So you know, we reapplied for a grant in the second year. The Elks National Foundation is time limited in terms of the number of years that they're going to provide grant monies for us. Generally, they'll go no longer than 5 years, and it's on a decreasing amount each of those 5 years. It's very unusual to get 2 years in a row where you get the maximum amount of $10,000. So we said that in the second year, we're going to apply for the $10,000, which we did, and we received approval for that. So we're now starting, January 1 is our new year. They're on a calendar year basis in terms of their fiscal year. So we're starting on that. There were some remaining funds from the first year grant of $10,000. We're in the process now of purchasing a tool trailer, and we hope to have something like one of the signs on the sides so everyone sees us out there, and hopefully we can generate more business. We're getting a power wash, we're getting a generator, and we're getting some small tools to try and keep us in business. The $10,000 that we have already received, we hope to start in March and go back to the original thought of doing some small projects and trying to do some spring cleanups. We're going to be going to the center, which has been a wonderful resource to us. We have, and I must say, and it's important that you know this in terms of a town agency such as the center, they are absolutely terrific. We have developed what I believe a wonderful working relationship. We work very closely with Karen Ryan over there. Terry has been involved in a lot of the stuff that we do, especially as it relates to our senior dance. And so we work closely with them because we see that as sort of like a funnel or a stream for us to get new clients. So we'll be going there April 18th. I'll be doing a presentation at lunchtime for the folks there. But one of the things that we need to do, and it's a challenge for us, and you'll see that in your handout, is in order for us to increase the family serve, we've got to get the word out there. That's one of the reasons, beyond trying to keep you informed in terms of how the program is proceeding, but also to stream and hopefully get people to see what we have to offer and hopefully be able to service more in our community. We also need to increase our volunteers. One of the most difficult things for us, not only in this program, but in all of our programs, is getting the volunteers necessary in order to accomplish what it is that we're setting out to do. And also, as part of that, is to increase our community partners. We've formed, as I just mentioned, a wonderful partnership with the center. We've got a great partnership going with the University of Rhode Island through the campership program. We're hoping to maybe access some of the organizations on the campus that might be able to help us on a volunteer basis in this particular program. We also had in our original application that we would like to explore, and we haven't had a chance to do this yet, but I'd like to be able to do it this year, our school system. We have, I believe, in our school system a requirement for community service, and it seems to me that this program would be an ideal partnership where if we could get some of the students that are required to have community service work with us, we'll certify their time for the service that they've provided, and it would be a great partnership where they would actually see the benefit of their work in their own community. Also, an important part of the upcoming year is to identify additional financial resources. And what we hope to do is we're going to be looking at some of the state foundation and organization resources that may be available to assist us going down the road, as well as the state itself. So basically, we feel that the program has been a real success. I think that's demonstrated by the responses that we've received from the clients that we've served. It also is reflective of receiving a second-year full $10,000 grant from the National, and they've been very complimentary in terms of the work that we've done and the support that they're willing to give us. So we're encouraged by that. I hope all of you are as well, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have concerning the program.
And congratulations. Fantastic job. Questions?
I don't have a question. I guess I'm just going to say it this way. The old adage is kind of really true. It takes a village to move a mountain.
It does.
And what I see in what the Elks do, not only with this home wrap program, but at Christmas time, for the families in town during Thanksgiving holiday, you know, you almost like really have to think of you guys sometimes as unsung heroes, because not everybody does realize what the Elks do. And I've personally had the opportunity to be there to see what the organization does. And we are extremely privileged in this town to have an organization like our local Elks Lodge that serves our community. You do a fantastic job there.
Thank you. Just to follow up on the Thanksgiving and the adoptive family, we started, the lodge started the Thanksgiving dinner a few years back, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I think it started with like 75 folks that came. Last year, 703, including deliveries. Adoptive families started, I think it was 8 families that we adopted. I think this year we did something like 23, 25, something like that.
I think the same thing might happen with this project, so you better be careful what you wish for.
Well, we hope. And
Yeah.
and hopefully that will generate interest outside of our community. We're interested in establishing revenue streams outside the community that we can bring in.
Absolutely.
That's what we're really trying to focus.
Well, you guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Certainly very, very impressed.
Ken, have any of the other Elks lodges in Rhode Island used you as an example to start their own programs like this, or?
Yeah, actually, the Bristol Lodge, they actually received a impact grant several years ago. They no longer receive, and I actually started in the Bristol Lodge. That's how I sort of got to learn a little bit about some of these grants. I don't know that there's any other lodge locally that's gotten what we call a Grand Slam. That's every grant that's being offered we've received. So I don't know if that's occurred.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful program. I'm sure you're setting a trend and an example for the other lodges, and we certainly are really lucky to have you guys.
To
Thank you.
piggyback on Liz's comment, if I'm not mistaken, I had heard, maybe it's hearsay, but they wanted to use the South Kingstown, they in the state, as an example to the other lodges in the community, and have the other lodges come down to tour the facilities, to talk to the people that are members there, because it's considered one of the model Elks in our state.
Yeah.
And congratulations. I'm not
Thank you, Joe.
at all surprised. I've spoken to some of your volunteers who have come into my store for one thing or another for the program. So congratulations. It's great stuff that you guys do year-round. This is another example.
Thank you so much. I'll just click
Well,
my
let's get out
signs.
there and support our local Elks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
I don't see that there's any other.
I'm just curious, is there a place downstairs we could have one of the signs? I know there's often different signs that are put up on a board in the lobby. Is it possible to have one of these?
I have signs.
Yeah, that way if you left it,
Small version of one of these, if that.
yeah, if we could put it up at the town hall, maybe that would help get the word out.
Thank you, Ken.
Any comments from council members?
I'd just like to say what a great job, once again, our Public Works have done with all the snow plowing. This storm has been ongoing. I think it's supposed to snow for the next few days, so I'm sure these guys are going to be very busy out there, but they always do such a great job. So thank you very much. And I've personally already been out 4 times today shoveling, so I will keep at it. I live right in town, so I have a sidewalk in front of my house, and every time I shovel, it just, undoubtedly one of these great plows will come by right after, but, so be careful. Shoveling, people should be careful with that, too. It's always important to see if you have a neighbor or someone that can't quite get out and to be helpful when you can.
Any other comments from council? Great. Steve, tell us what's going on.
The only comment I was going to make was to thank the staff for everything they've done, because it's not just Public Works. Recognize that with the police department and the activities that have to occur during these storms, as well as EMS, it's a group effort. And it's not just Public Works, it's the grounds department as well as the utilities department and the engineering division itself. We're manning trucks this time. In fact, I had Shock out in a backhoe all afternoon on Friday moving tree branches. So, they deserve a lot of credit, and we'll continue to try to provide the service that people have come to expect of us.
All right. I don't believe we have any appointments to make tonight. Is there reappointments to do? Tell us what to do, John.
I'll make a motion to reappoint. We have 4 reappointments on the EDC. Francis Alexakos, Roland Fiore, Susan Marcus, Brian Smith, and Henry Thayer. That's 5.
Second?
For terms to expire March of 2019.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And one more reappointment for the Zoning Board of Review. John Bernardo, for a term to expire March of 2019 as well.
Second?
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
They're back on. And that brings us to item 12, new business. Item B is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to D'Ambra Construction Company of Warwick for the East Matunic Water Main Interconnection Project in an amount not to exceed $1,167,225, including a $200,000 contingency, and is further detailed in a memorandum from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager.
This is a project we've been talking about really for the last 3 years, and it is to be able to provide an alternate means of connection for the South Shore water system. And this would connect between Matunic Beach Road and Succotash Road itself, so that we will no longer be at the mercy of the ocean in terms of the erosion that occurs on the Barrier Beach. We've received 2 grants, one from FEMA for pre-disaster, and a second grant through the Community Development Block Grant Program. We went out to bid on this project. There was approximately 8 submitters. The lowest qualified bidder is D'Ambra Construction at $967,225. We would recommend council award as presented in John's memorandum, and include with that a contingency for the $200,000 as listed on the agenda. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve item 12B to the award of contract for D'Ambra Construction Company as
Second?
presented.
So moved. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item C is a resolution declaring February 22nd, 2016 as George Washington Day in the town of South Kingstown in commemoration of the first president's birthday.
I make a motion that we, we'll do a discussion first.
We can,
I make a motion that we approve item 12C as presented for George Washington Day.
Second.
all right. Any further discussion? Happy birthday, George. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Item D, a resolution endorsing a grant application submittal by the Friends of South Kingstown Parks and Recreation to the Rhode Island Foundation for the Dog Park Lighting Project and authorizing the town manager to sign a letter on behalf of the town council acknowledging their support. Do you want to describe
I would
this?
just say that the Friends of the Parks and Recreation are working closely with the Friends of the Dog Park. Obviously, the objective is to be able to expand the number of hours that the park's available for use, and one of the ways would be with lighting. Also looking to have it so it would look at solar LED lighting to provide for a demonstration. That also would provide an opportunity for us not to have a lot of issues as far as wiring that would be necessary for that type of a program. And the grant application will seek some type of funding assistance through this program, and certainly I think it's something that we would all fully support.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 7D.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion?
Well, I just want to say that I know Byron started a Facebook group for lighting the dog park, and there's information on there about buying bricks, which is a way that they're trying to raise funds to help support this initiative. And I just think it's great when groups come forward and have an idea like this and really, take the initiative to find their own funds and apply for these grants. It's exactly what we want to see. So it's a project I think we're all proud to support.
And he has come before the council in the past asking for our support, and he's actually come here, I think, on 2 different occasions to talk about the dog park. And we have been very supportive of any time he's come up to the podium to discuss his ideas and what he wants. So I have to agree, he's done an awful lot of work.
I certainly have a lot of respect for how they do hustle. They are out there really trying to get some funds and get their projects moving forward. They do a lot of fundraising on their own, which is impressive. So good for them.
Great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. Item E is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Martone Services of Narragansett for improvements to the Senior Center Annex in accordance with all bidding specifications in an amount not to exceed $129,517, including a $2,500 contingency, and as further described in a memo from the Director of Leisure Services to the Town Manager.
In November of 2014, the town was successful in getting $180,000 from the Community Development Block Grants Disaster Recovery Program. The application that we had put forward was really to do several things. One was to install an emergency generator for the senior center itself, and secondly, with the senior center's annex, to be able to replace doors, windows, repair roof. This is a component of our senior programming that provides shelter for the emergency food pantry, a woodworking shop, as well as the senior gift shop, and the arts and crafts area. So any improvements that we can make is advantageous to us, providing better programming with the seniors, as well as to have it more efficient as far as the heating of that facility. The cost of the projects, when it went out to bid, far exceeded what we had available. It was over by about $30,000. We went back to the state, and they indicated that we could make secondary or supplemental application for those cost overruns, but it would take some time for them to determine the availability of those funds. They've now indicated that there is funds available to be able to increase that grant to allow the award of contract. The lowest qualified bidder on the work was Martone Services. There were 4 bids that were received. The price at the $127,000, the next lowest bid was at $155,000. So the recommendation would be for council authorization for the award as presented on the agenda this evening.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve item number 12E.
Second?
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And that motion carries unanimously. Item 12F is a resolution authorizing an award of contract to electrical installations of Whittier Highway, New Hampshire, Molten Borough, for finishing and installing 3 industrial computers, programming, and associated labor to test the system in an amount not to exceed $26,950, including a $2,000 contingency, as further detailed in a memo from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager.
Essentially, what this is computer hardware and software that will allow the staff to be able to better control and track the flows of materials through the wastewater system, as well as to be able to operate equipment from off-site locations at 2 of the pumping stations. One is at the Silver Lake pumping station, as well as the hospital pumping station. So recommend award as presented. This is a proprietary work where we're dealing with the same company that's been in place for several years as far as the computer system that controls all of the different components of that sewer system.
Very good. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, we talked about this at the work session, in which case Steve gave us some real good information, so I do make a motion to approve item 12F as presented on the agenda.
Second?
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. And it brings us to the end of tonight's agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
So moved. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? One opposed. Motion carries 4-1.